So this comment is justifying saying that late diagnosed autistics are not really autistics.
So I'm going to add on to this. I actually didn't make it through high school. I dropped out midway through my senior year. I was so far behind in my credits that I would have had to stay in high school another 4 years. And yet, I showed all the signs for autism. Even in my 5th grade psych evaluation, the school psychologist basically confirmed everything that the DSM says about autism without actually saying I was autistic, because I apparently didn't exhibit any learning difficulties. My math scores were extremely low. They attributed that to me not studying and this, that, and the other. But math has never made sense to me at all. It took me a long time to learn my addition tables. I still count on my fingers. It took me a long time to learn my multiplication tables. When everyone else got to go out for recess, I had to go to the music room and study flashcards, and I still didn't. I still do 9s on my fingers. I still have trouble with multiplying higher than 5 by anything. I was severely bullied in school, and yet I kept receiving a diagnosis of generalized anxiety disorder. And I kept getting told that I just need to try harder, that I just need to study more, this, that. They tried taking away my special interest, which was stories. You know, at the time, my stories were TV shows, movies, stuff like that. And nothing worked. It wasn't until I began studying psychology in college, which I returned to school at 36. After I dropped out of high school, I immediately went and got my GED. And then I finally returned to school for college at 36, studied psychology. And it wasn't until a couple years into it that I realized that I likely have what's called dyscalculia, which is kind of like dyslexia, only with math and numbers. It affects dates, time, anything involving numbers. And it's also very common among autistics. Now, my first 2 years of college, the only reason I passed and received my diploma was because I didn't give up. I failed every algebra exam they put in front of me. But because I dedicated every single minute that I had available to trying, to studying, to doing practice work, to getting tutored, to watching videos on Khan Academy, all this, my instructors saw how much work I was putting in, and they passed me. And that was the only reason I received my associate's degree. That was the main reason why I didn't go to college for so long, because I knew when it came down to it, I would have to take algebra classes, and it would be a struggle for me to pass. And it was. If I would have received my autism diagnosis earlier, like in middle school, elementary school, high school even, I could have got the accommodations I needed to get help with my, not just math, but receive extra time on tests, which I sorely need. I took, in my diagnosis and psychotherapy class, or psychopathology class last quarter, I had my accommodations now, but I didn't realize that they had to be entered in as like manually. I thought that once the exam was open or whatever, that my accommodations would, take effect. So somehow I was able to take the exams before the open dates. I'm not sure how. I went into the grade book on Canvas. They were available. I took them. I used up every minute at a time. And I ended up, getting C's on both exams. But I didn't realize until later that was without my accommodations. Normally, I'm supposed to receive time and a half on exams. Because for some reason I was able to get into or access the exams before they were officially open, my accommodations weren't actually put in place. And so I used every last minute of the exam time and got C's on them. If I would have had my accommodations, I would have done much better. The professor offered to let me retake it. I didn't think that would be fair because I would be coming in with an advantage that the other students didn't have of already knowing what the questions were and everything, and having been able to analyze my previous answers and all this. So I didn't retake it. I was fine with the C's that I got because it didn't drop my grade down too much. I ended up with a B in the class for the quarter, which kind of broke my straight A streak in my master's program. But it is what it is. But just because we didn't receive accommodations in high school doesn't mean we didn't need them. If I would have had the accommodations I needed in high school, I could have likely graduated high school. I could have likely done much better in school than what I did. I likely wouldn't have dropped out. So you can't really use that as the measuring stick.